We have seen that checkmate means victory for the player who checkmates his opponent's king. In this episode, we will study E.S. Lowe's Chess in 30 Minutes, subheading Checkmate, pages 32 to 35, in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
You would do well not to underestimate the White King, my friend.
You wouldn't.
Checkmate.
Podcast Miniseries, E.S. Lowe's Chess in 30 Minutes, Study and Practical Application, read by Jeremy Morrow. Subheading Checkmate. Checkmate with the queen. Checkmate with the rook. Checkmate with the two bishops. And checkmate with bishop and knight. Pages 32 to 35. Chess in 30 Minutes. Paperback by E.S. Lowe. Published in January 1st, 1955, 5 out of 5 stars. Barb 1992 said, 5 stars. Good handy book. Reviewed in the United States on May 14th, 2014. Verified purchase. Book is in really good condition. Arrived before scheduled time. Member of my family has had it for years. Now I can learn playing chess from my own copy. Clear and simple guide for a beginners. Buy this book on Amazon. Link in the description. In our previous reading, we were starting to read Chapter 2, Winning Methods in Chess, on page 27, page 28, and page 29. We learned about some various checks. We learned about the check, subheading, and then we learned about the discovered check. We learned about the double check, and we learned about the forking checks. Now we're on page 32, subheading Checkmate. Paragraph reads, we have seen that checkmate means victory for the player who checkmates his opponent's king. So far, however, we have seen checks, but no checkmates. Here is how the queen forces checkmate. Here we have diagram 23 here. Checkmate with the queen. Here we have the chessboard and the black king on the top and the white king on the bottom, and then between those two we have the queen, the white queen in the middle. Goes on to read, why is the position of diagram 23 a checkmate position? First, white's queen is checking, brackets, attacking, black's king. The queen cannot be captured. No piece can be interposed to block the force of the attack. What remains for black? Can his king flee from the attack? No. Wherever the king tries to move, he goes to squares that are in the capturing range of black's queen and or king. A king can never voluntarily expose himself to capture. Hence, black's king cannot move to these squares controlled by the enemy. So, to sum up, black's king is in check and has no squares to go to where he will be out of check. This is checkmate. The game is over. Black has lost. Brackets. Note that in a game of chess, the king is never actually captured. As long as he is in check and, next page 33, and cannot escape his fate, that ends the game right then and there. In order to bring about this checkmate with the queen, she needs the active cooperation of her own king. Unless the king is nearby, protecting the queen as in diagram 23, the weaker side's king could get off scot-free by capturing the checking queen. How does the rook force checkmate? Go back to diagram 23 and substitute a white rook for the white queen. Is black still checkmated? No. For now, the black king can move to the left or right, which takes him out of the rook's jurisdiction. Brackets. Remember that the rook moves and captures only vertically or horizontally, but not diagonally. Next we have diagram 24, checkmate with the rook. We have the white king on the top of the chessboard, and 2 spaces below we have the black king below the white king, and to the right of the chessboard, 2 spaces to the right, we have the black rook. Diagram 24, checkmate with the rook. In diagram 24, we have a foolproof mating position with the rook. Let's see why. The white king is in check, checked by the black rook. White cannot capture the rook, nor can he interpose a piece to block the line of attack. Nor can the white king move out of check. If the white king moves along the last row, he is still in check from the rook. And the white king cannot, moving on to page 34, move to the second row, for the 3 possible squares available to the white king are all controlled by black's king. So again, we have a case of checkmate. This time, white is on the receiving end of the checkmate, and black has won the game. In all these basic checkmates, the weaker side's king must be forced to one of the side rows. In the case of checkmate with the queen or rook, it does not matter which square the king is forced to. However, to checkmate with 2 bishops it is not enough to force the king to the edge of the board. The king must be driven to a corner square. It's very important to remember that. We have diagram 25, checkmate with the 2 bishops. So we have a bottom right corner of the chessboard, we have the black king on the white space, and a couple spaces above to the left on the black square, we have a white king. And a couple spaces above that white king is a white bishop, and a couple spaces above diagonally there is another white bishop, this time on a black square. Here again we have a perfect checkmating position. Black's king is in check, and there is no way to get him out of check. All the squares within the black king's range are controlled by the white king and / or the white bishops. White has checkmated the black king and thus wins the game. Another type of basic checkmate with a bishop and knight also requires cornering the weaker side's king. Diagram 26 shows how such a checkmate works. Moving on to page 35. We have diagram 26, checkmate with bishop and knight. We have the black king on the top left corner of the chessboard on a white square. We have a white knight on the white square to the right, and below the white knight is on the black space. Black square is a white king, and the bottom right corner, just slightly above on the white square, above the corner, is a white bishop. Black's king is in check, and there is no way to get him out of check. All the squares within the black king's range are controlled by the white king and / or the other 2 white pieces. Again, white has checkmated the black king and thus wins the game. From these last examples, you have seen that a queen, aided by her king, can enforce a checkmate. This is also true of a single rook, of both bishops, and of a bishop and knight. To know this is not enough, for there are pieces which cannot affect checkmate, and this is vitally important information. A single bishop, for example, cannot enforce checkmate, since the bishop travels on only one color. The hostile king is safe whenever he occupies a square of the other color. I'll repeat that just for emphasis. The hostile king is safe whenever he occupies a square of the other color, in regards to the bishop. A single knight likewise cannot enforce checkmate. In any given situation, there are plenty of squares not controlled by the knight. In addition, even both knights cannot enforce checkmates. Alright, let's have a brief review. We studied all the various techniques of checkmate. First of all, we have diagram 23. Checkmate with the queen. The king is on section E1, the black king. The white king is on section E6, and the white queen in the middle on section E7. Next we have diagram 24, checkmate with the rook. Here we have the white king this time on section E8, and the black king on section E6. And on section G8 we have the black rook. Next we have diagram 25, checkmate with the two bishops. We have the black king on the bottom right corner of the board, section H1. Next we have the white king on section G3. And we have these two white bishops here, section E4 and section C5. And finally, diagram 26, checkmate with bishop and knight. If you look a little closer to the diagram here, the video game illustration here, we have the black king on section A8, top right left corner. Next to the black king, we have the white knight on section C8, and the white king on section C7. And the bottom right corner, the white bishop on section G2. Moving on to page 36. Next subheading. We have comparative values of the pieces. And thus ends another episode. I'm Jeremy, and you've been listening to my reading of the book, E.S. Lowe's Chess in 30 Minutes, Study and Practical Application. This has been a mini-series, an ongoing mini-series, and we've just started chapter 2. We learned about the checkmate techniques on pages 32 to 35. Tune in next time. We're going to finish up the chapter of chapter 2 with page 36, subheading Comparative Values of the Pieces. I hope you'll tune in next time. Say subscribe to Video Gamers Oasis and click the notification bell on YouTube to be notified of future videos. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy your game of chess. Bye for now.